Because this is what I find in horror. Children in horror movies just creep me out more than anything. Like,
They're, 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 the, they're the scariest part of horror, I think. In fact, they tend to just throw them in for a scary element. You
Yeah.
could have a 12-foot tall monster chasing people round, but then just throw in a random child with dark hair and dark features, and suddenly it's become sinister.
Yeah.
The monster wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Well, you've got the most famous obviously. I'm a big horror buff, so I actually read a little bit of your book over the week, which I'm absolutely loving at the moment. But I'm a huge horror buff from way back. So the best examples I think of scary kids, and you have to go back to the classics like with The Omen. The son of Satan, Damien, mind controlling, and they've done a few remakes, but nothing beats the original. Especially when you've got his nanny standing on the roof, and she's like, "I did this for you, Damien," and just jumps to her death. And then you've got the classic Children of the Corn as well, which
100%.
blonde haired, blue eyes, scare the living bejesus out of you. But yeah, I would say they're two of the main. I think in terms of having scary kids in a school. I don't know if you've ever played it, Jamie. You might have, John, but have you ever played any of the Silent Hill games?
Yeah, the old school ones.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
exactly the originals, and there's quite they do quite a not quite weird things with children. In a particular, I think it's Silent Hill 2 or 3. I'm not sure, but you have to venture into a school, and let's just say that can creep the absolute crap out of you.
Yep.
And then you've got one of the original children being scary in the movie adaptation of The Shining. You've got the
Yeah.
twins.
Oh, of course, the two
Oh,
the
yeah.
twins. Yeah,
They
the two
Yeah,
kids.
children have the ability to be complete innocents, and I think
Yeah.
that's why they do so well on the
Yeah.
reverse. It's because it's
Mhm.
so abstract. It's a bit like seeing a fluffy cloud turn into a 12-legged monster. The
Yeah.
metamorphosis between
Yeah.
really innocent and being sinister is quite a
Yeah.
transformation.
Yeah. I remember like one of my favorite ones is this episode of Supernatural where the changelings,
Mhm.
like all the kids in town got changed
Yeah,
and
I know
they're like,
exactly what you're
"Mommy,"
talking
and I'm
about.
going, "Oh," just like yeah. Yeah.
And I think nowadays they still use the trope of children in scary movies and stuff like that, but they don't hit the same as like you say, The Shining, as The Omen and Children of the Corn. There was just something about those kids back from the 60s, the 70s, and even the 80s where they absolutely just I don't know how they do the casting, but they just hit the nail on the head with the creepiest little fuckers that you can find, and just they absolutely scare the crap out of you. But now modern horror does not scare me, but some of that stuff from like that scene in The Omen when I saw that for the first time, that where she jumps off the roof and he's just the little kid just standing there just looking up, that is forever etched in my mind. And I think. I think a lot of horror back then, without the digital effects, they didn't have the special effects that you had to rely on now, that you've got to rely on nowadays with CGI and everything. It was all real world stuff. So I think that's why they just hit a little bit harder. The little kids from the those movies are just that little bit scarier.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I think a lot of letting the audience do some of the work with their
Hmm.
imagination
Yeah.
helps. I think that's why books are still so powerful.